Gordon Bettles is the founder of this town that only lasted a few decades as a community. But Gordon Bettles came over the Chilkoot Trail. Before that, he had been a newspaper editor. He was the editor of the Detroit Free Press. He was a newspaper man by trade, but he was also a stampeder. The reason Old Bettles exists is that in 1899, after a couple, maybe two other failed attempts to establish lasting towns, he settled on this location to open a store, what was called a bean shop in those days, because this was the northernmost navigable point on the Koyukuk for shallow draft steamboats. And as a store owner, he proved to be far too generous. And during that first year, 1898-99, he gave credit to miners, a grub stake. He gave them enough to survive from his store without asking for cash in return, amounting to $100,000 or more. And of course, that was gambling that those same miners would hit pay dirt at some point and would pay him the money that they owed him. And that didn't happen. And he was largely unsuccessful as a store owner because of his generosity and because of his enthusiasm for the spirit of the stampede. But most of the cabins from that era have fallen into the earth and are rotting away. So cabin remnants are evident, though scattered inside the park. And visitors are asked to, if they do find historic objects, to leave them in place. They might photograph them or tell a park ranger about the location, but to leave those undisturbed because they're part of the permanent historic landscape of the park, and they continue to tell us the story of the very difficult lives of people who learned to live in this environment. And the reason Bettles ceased to be a community is that the buildings were taken apart and moved to the new airfield that was built in 1945. The airfield was intended to support petroleum exploration on the North Slope at the National Petroleum Reserve number 4. Buildings were removed from this location, taken upstream, I believe it's 7 miles, and this community ceased to exist.